coming straight from the heart when I say, give you a second chance. Straight from the heart when I say, I forgive you in advance. Straight from the heart when I say.
If you live in Toronto and frequent music venues like the Horseshoe, or even just have the local radio station playing in the background at home or at your place of work, then you've undoubtedly heard the catchy melodies of the pop rock quartet Jane's Party. If you haven't had a chance to see them live, I highly recommend it. They put on such a great show and should be performing live on the stage again soon. The band is made up of Jeff Giles on keys, guitars, and vocals, Tom Ionescu on guitars and vocals, Devon Richardson on bass and vocals, and Zach Sutton on drums. These guys have been hard at work making wonderfully catchy tunes that get stuck in your head since forming the band in their university years in around 2006. In their 15 years of playing together, they've put out 5 full-length albums, the latest of which is a collection of unplugged versions of songs they performed on the Marshmallow Revue. What is the Marshmallow Revue, you might ask? Well, without giving too much away, because we talk about it quite a bit in the interview, it's a very well-produced film of the guys performing out on docks or in canoes out in cottage country north of Toronto, Gravenhurst to be exact. The film really gives fans a deeper insight and personal connection to the band, and it's all around a great watch. You can catch it on YouTube, just search for the Marshmallow Revue, Jane's Party. I caught up with Dev and Jeff via Zoom to chat about what they've been up to during COVID. We talk about the Marshmallow Revue and a bunch of other stuff. Here's my chat with Devon and Jeff of Jane's Party. All right, guys. Well, first off, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me today. Really appreciate it. I was really excited when Jessica reached out and said that you guys are open for interviews right now. I haven't seen you since... actually, no, I wasn't even there for the Sideways session, but... that
was a cool space you have over there.
Yeah, well, R.I.P. We had to close, we had to shut down our doors.
Oh,
no.
no.
Yeah, another COVID casualty, unfortunately. We're hoping that, maybe one day we can get things up and running again, but for now it just didn't make sense. It was just hard getting people in. And,
of course. Did you tear down the Sideways?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was bittersweet.
Yeah. Man, that thing was cool.
I was gonna say, is that why it's taking so long to set up the apartment? Because you're doing it sideways?
No. I think it's just a bit of laziness. Actually, my first question for anyone I've had on has been how the pandemic has been going. Most of the news that I received from Jessica, you guys have been super busy during the pandemic, so we can talk a bit more about that. How are things going, like on a personal level for everyone?
On a personal level, pretty good. Yeah, I think it took a good chunk of 2020 to get into a good rhythm of okay, this is life now. Mm-hmm. But since then, I'd say 6 months into the pandemic, and then from then till now, I felt like I'm in a good groove. No longer just sitting on the couch, scared to go outside. It's a little bit more cozy now.
Yeah, I'd say other than the existential crisis and mental breakdowns every week or two, it's going pretty well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but you got to compartmentalize for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think for the band, it's actually been great. It's forced us to open the door to using new tools and explore collaborating remotely, which we've always written songs. For 90% of our records, we've written songs. It'll be one of us writing a song and then bringing it to the table. A lot of times, the demo is 99% there, and then we sort of add our flourishes. But this has been definitely a different way to create and collaborate. And I'm not going to say that I love it, but it's definitely opened the doors to working in a different format.
Right.
Hopefully down the road, if we can continue collaborating this way, we'll come up with some interesting songs, interesting projects.
Yeah, for sure. When last were you all together?
When was that?
4 of us. It wasn't the Marshmallow Revue. We had to be together after that, right? Photo shoot.
Photo shoot, yeah. We finally, once they opened up photo studios for like that brief period of time, because we were supposed to shoot press photos and like album cover photos for our new album, and then it just got shut down, so it all got delayed. So when we released our first, like our new single back in March of 2020, we had to use like press photos from like 2016 and stuff like that. So it was good to finally get all together in a safe environment and shoot a bunch of new photos. So we've got a bunch of stuff to last us. Hopefully the next year and the whole album cycle and press photo and whatnot.
Cool.
But that was the last time we were together, I think. Other than, the Marshmallow was the last time we probably played together.
Right.
But didn't we get together in a week in a park for like a birthday shout out video or something like that?
Yeah, that's true. We did have to do some post stuff. But was that before or after the photo shoot? I think that was before the photo shoot.
Yeah, you're right. Photo shoot. So it's documented the last time that we were together.
Okay,
well
there's proof. Yeah.
There's proof.
Well, one of the really cool things that came out of necessity of like just figuring out how to do things during a pandemic was the incredible music video for Change Your Mind.
Yeah.
And I was blown away when I saw that Tom was the one that made it. Like I just couldn't believe that. It looks so crisp and professionally done.
I know,
not to say that he's not good. I just didn't know that about him.
He constantly surprises us with what he's capable of pulling out of his little bag of tricks.
Yeah, is he like a video guy during the day or anything like that? Or
no, just learns it, teaches himself and then gets
one of
going.
those.
But one of those guys, yeah. He's never not doing something, that guy.
Oh,
which is great. Which is great for us, And then he's able to sort of. So for that one, he was able to sort of like plan out everything and then sort of divvy tasks. So then like we would be having Zoom calls on like he'd be teaching us how to use like Adobe. Fucking anything. It honestly, it went over my head, but somehow Jeff was able to seep in a lot of it. And so Jeff and Tom really did a lot for that music video. And then Zach and I were sort of like moral support. You can do it, guys.
I was Tom's like minion. He would be like, he'd feed me the scraps and say, you got to put these frames together, but yeah, Tom was the total mastermind behind that. The vision, everything. Obviously, we bounced all the ideas off each other, but a lot of that was just. And I wish Tom was on this podcast because he's been the driving force for a lot of stuff that we've done throughout the quarantine, the lockdown, including the Marshmallow Revue. But Change Her Mind was really just, I think, just hours and hours of him sketching frames, literally just like frame by frame tracing. There were some other techniques we used through Adobe, but that was the majority of that was the bulk, the meat and potatoes of that.
Yeah, just the sheer hours he had to put in drawing each frame.
Right. So. How close was the final product to the initial like idea of like, hey guys, why don't we try doing something like this?
I think we hit a couple snags. Just sometimes your imagination just gets so big, and then you're like, okay, no, like, okay, we have to cut that, and then like the timeline started sinking in. So we're like, okay, we can't draw this big dinosaur that's going to eat this thing, and then blah blah. So we had some outtake drawings that he did that were really cool, but just out of necessity for time, we had to put it together as it was. But it's still like amazing, and he did such an amazing job, and it was just sort of like. Okay, we're putting out a single. We can't get together. We can't. It's already been uploaded to the Spotify and stuff. Like it's coming out. What are we gonna do? And so, we were thinking of just like B-roll stock footage. Anyone can use stuff for it, but Tom was like, no, allow me to work 100 hours and come up with something cool.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna do all the stock footage, and then we're gonna trace over all of it frame by frame.
Yeah. So it was pretty wild, and then we love the way it turned out, and and it's a great kickoff to the new record that will hopefully be coming out this year sometime.
Cool. Yeah, I want to get into how the new record's coming along a bit later. Where did the inspiration for the music video come from? When I think like the first 10 seconds, I was just like screamed like Aha's Take on Me.
That was one of our references for sure.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
We knew there was something like with stop animation that we could try, and then Tom's always looking at different, programs and like, oh, well, this filter that I just saw came out, we can use it this way. So he's always thinking of different ways to use new technologies and stuff that's come out and then adapt it to the band. So that was just, And then we found the Memphis art. Like originally we were going to be, it was the whole aesthetic for the album was different. But then when we saw that Memphis design, which is sort of that like 90s, and then it instantly gave us like Saved by the Bell vibes. And we were like, okay, that sort of works with the joyous vibe of the song, colorful. Let's just go full in on that. And yeah, so we were scouring the internet for, different 90s looking stuff.
Right.
Tiger Beat magazine, all this different, colorful teen stuff. It was fun. It was really, really fun to put together.
Well, something very interesting that I read in the press release was that Tom mentioned in high school he used to just like sketch around in a sketchbook, and basically the idea was like, how do I bring the sketchbook to life? And I think that was something that really like clicked with me, and I was just like, oh, it totally does give that vibe off that it's just like
exactly.
Super animated. Sorry, what were you going to say?
A couple albums ago, we'd had an idea that we wanted to like do a music video that was sort of like someone drawing something, and it was like we'd slowly like see the pen dissolve, and then all the pages would fill up with drawings and stuff like that, and it was going to be cool, like stop animation like that. So I think the seed of like that was there, and then we just sort of, with the tools that we had at our disposal, the press photos that we already had that we were able to manipulate. That's just sort of how we got there. And we really like it's called Memphis design. Is that what it's called? Memphis, the style?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So once we saw that, we were like, okay, this all fits in together perfectly. We'll go full Saved by the Bell with this video.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, that you should be so proud of it. It's such an interesting video, and especially like something to come out during COVID. I feel like a lot of bands or artists are just using like footage from Zoom meetings or whatever, so you can always tell like, oh, the quality is kind of not the best, and then for something to come out that you made yourselves is
for us, it's always been quality has always been the top of like priorities for us. If we're going to put out something, we want to make sure it's good. If we're going to do a music video, we want to make sure it's like really good, so, and then we just try and also, try and keep up with the amount of stuff we put out. So it's always a fine balance of trying to put out the best stuff we can as often as we can.
I was going to add as well, sorry to interrupt. The whole sketching theme really ties into Tom has done almost all of the artwork over the years for the band. It might actually be all the artwork for the band. We've all had input, but he's really been, he's had the vision and he always creates the imagery and the video. And there's actually an animation sketch. I'm actually not sure how he did it, but you should check out No Good For Me. He did a video for that.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was in like 2010, and that was with like Flash or something like that. So
the little boy of the fish, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been an underlying theme. There's a current there to follow back to the beginning, and as well the artwork for the garage sessions. When Tom redid the artwork for that, it was all sketched. It was all done by hand, all drawings of the West End of Toronto.
Yeah, I think he just did there's like a Facebook post somewhere about how the garage sessions cover came to be. It was pretty interesting.
Do you guys have a team that you work with for, figuring out, like you said, that fine balance between like the songs you're putting out, the videos, the artwork, the photo shoots? It's
mostly just the four of us. We have we always bounce stuff off of like Christina and Jess, and Listen Harder. So we're always bouncing ideas off of them. They've been with us for a while. But as far as creative goes, it's just the four of us.
That's remarkable. That is so cool. Let's talk about the song itself. It is so catchy, as with most of Jane's Party's tracks. They're just they get just like stuck in your head, and just like hearing the chorus go on. What was the writing process like? Was it a bit different this time around, or? Oh man,
this song has been on. Jeff, how many years has this song been on the back burner for?
A while. I mean, it was in a demos folder that we would pull up like
every album cycle. Are we ready for it yet? Nope, not yet.
Exactly. Every big tour, we'd be at some point in the tour, and we'd dig into a Dropbox folder that's like all the old demos, and we'd be in the van driving somewhere, and we'd like listen through all the old demos, you know, and make a new list as to like, okay, which one should we pull out? And that song just kept popping to the top, kept floating to the top of the batch, and yeah, so finally we did it. We had the idea to do a stripped down raw rock and roll electric guitars, you know, pretty crunched out drums, really live feeling vocals, and we just thought that song would fit the mix perfectly. And I'm not sure if it turned out exactly that way, but I think it's going to lead beautifully into the rest of the record.
Yeah, I think we because that's been since probably after Hot Noise. Like Tom's had that demo around, and it just kept screaming like Big Star to me. Every time I listened to those verses, I was like, oh, it's so Big Star. But I love the chorus. It's such an indie pop chorus. But just for like Tunnel Visions, it just didn't fit that group. Tunnel Revisions, you know, that was a different thing. And then Casual Island was a little more polished and like futuristic sounding, if you will. And so it just didn't fit there. So then finally when, you know, I had a couple more like rock and roll sounding songs, Jeff had a couple rock and roll, and then we were like, okay, well, what about this one? Let's, you know, start jamming this live and see if it'll work. And then as we were playing it, we were like, okay, and we worked on some structure bits to it. And then, yeah, it just slowly came together after we recorded all the songs, we were like, okay, this one feels good for a single.
Mm-hmm. Was this your first time working with the guys from Zeus?
No, we recorded, not directly, but we didn't directly work with them for our record Hot Noise, but we recorded in their studio, which used to be in the East End of Toronto. Where was it again?
That was at Dundas and Leslie.
And Taylor Knox actually produced that record.
Oh, cool.
And there was some outside input from Carlin, I think Carlin and Mike at points, but they were never directly involved in the record.
Yeah, we didn't really know them that well.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we look up to those guys so much, and over the years watching their career and watching the music they made, and then learning that they did so much of it themselves in their own studio, was something that really appealed to us. So to get the chance to go in there and work with them, it was awesome, and I think we'll continue to work with them down the road on recording stuff. They got a great spot.
Yeah, cool. We were sort of just like, okay, so our idea for this next record is like full, you know, live band rock and roll. Okay, who are the gods of rock in Toronto right now? It's like, oh, Zeus, obviously, literally a god, you know. So we went to their studio and just had and it was like right before it was actually like right as the lockdowns began. We were just finishing like overdubbing horns on the record, so it literally we just finished wrapping it just as COVID started, and so now we're just waiting to get it mixed, and then off to the races.
Cool. What did Carlin and Mike bring to the table? Like, did they do? Did you guys do any like weird recording techniques, or were they pretty like hands-on during the production?
They were really great with like we'd show up and they'd be like, hey, we've got, you know, we want to try this new way of miking the drums. Like we learned from this Beatles book or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so we would show up and like the mics would be placed and ready. So we could just walk in and like, I used their gear. Like I just used their bass and their bass amp. They just had the sounds like so dialed so well. And then just, they're both such great songwriters that they didn't really change much, but if we needed to like bounce ideas off of them or something we were unsure of, they were always there with like great input. And yeah, like Mike played some Juno on one of the songs. Carlin helped us come up with some like classic Zeus like backing vocal stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was really great to have their input on the stuff.
Cool. Yeah. Speaking of the backing vocals, I was excited to see that the two female backing vocalists are in Frankie.
Oh yeah, do you know Frankie?
Yeah, I actually saw them play with you. I think it was your Halloween show at the Horseshoe. You guys were dressed up in Star Trek gear.
Yeah.
And I've actually been in talks with them. I'm trying to get them on the podcast as well. They're so good, and I thought it was so awesome. Cool that they were the ones doing the backing vocals. How did that come about?
Well, we had played a tour with them, so we'd played a run of shows, and I mean, they're phenomenal musicians and great singers and really down to earth. We got along with them really well, and I think at one point we really felt like, you know, the song was in a place where it was good, but there was something missing. There was like a sparkle or another element, another layer, sort of tone wise, that was missing from the choruses. And I think, I can't remember who reached out to them. I think it might have been Tom, and just said they were still in town at that point. Why don't you come on over and, you know, lay some vocals down? And sure enough, they made the record. So yeah, we're happy how it turned out.
Yeah, I think, did they also sing on Live Again as well? I think they sang on 2 songs.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're on another song. They're on another song on the record. Yeah, they're on another one on the record too. And then Tom's fiance also sings all over all of our records, Danica.
Oh, cool. So. Next, I really wanted to talk about the Marshmallow Revue. Mm-hmm. Another Tom question. Well, you guys were all there. I just thought it was such a cool thing. Again, something just like super exciting and fresh to come out during a pandemic. There seems to be a trend with you guys figuring out like how to do cool stuff and how to kind of like break the mold.
Try to.
Where did the idea for that come from? Like doing something out in Gravenhurst and.
I just my dad had recently retired like in May up in Gravenhurst. So all of a sudden, you know, after 12 years of being a band, we finally have a cottage at our disposal, you know?
Cool.
That's only an hour and an hour and a half north of the city. And so I was just hanging there one time, and we just got this fire pit installed, and I was looking out the window, and it was like fire pit, lake, like backdrop, like Muskoka Rock. And I just took a picture and I sent it to our group chat being like, hey, like, I think we might be able to, like, I'm picturing like acoustic guitars around a campfire. We might be able to get something going here. And then that was that. And I just met, and everyone was like, yeah, that could be fun. Like, cool. And that was in like July or something. And then a couple weeks or something later, Tom sent a message being like, hey, remember when you talked about going there, like, what if we could call it the Marshmallow Revue? And then he like showed me this graphic, and then I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then we brought it to the guys, and then we sort of found a time that would work. Late September, Tom and I went to a park and we sort of sketched out some ideas, and then Jeff and Tom started planning how we would get all the audio covered. There was a lot of moving little parts to like really make it work. And we only had a weekend, like Friday night, Saturday night, and then leave Sunday. And so pretty much 2 nights and 1 full day of shooting. And yeah, it was a crazy. And our second cameraman, unfortunately, his dog had like passed like that morning. So
oh my god,
we ended up only having, so half of our crew was gone. So then it was just like one cameraman and the 4 of us trying to plan all these shots. And like we had an outline, but it was very like, let's just go in the moment and see what happens. And then you know, luckily the cameraman Julian Peter, who's done pretty much all of our film projects since the beginning with us. He's like a 5th member, really. We were able to just like use all the B-roll that he shot and then really craft this like this special, you know, like a feature, 42-minute feature film. And the whole time we were editing it, I was like, oh my God, 40 minutes. Like, this is, who's going to watch this? This is insane. Like, people's attention span is like a minute. But it was really cool to, you know, do something different, do something other than just a live stream, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something new.
Yeah, it was, I also thought the timing of it coming out in December, I feel like most Canadians, by the time Christmas time is like on the horizon, you're really missing like the summer days because it's getting cold and gray and wet all the time. So it was it was a good time for it to come out too. I think it came out December 14th.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking too. Not too late after, like rather like, you know, January sort of dead. So we're like, we can't release this in February. Like that's in the depths of winter. You know, this way, like summertime's still on the mind.
Exactly.
And then, you know, people still a little nostalgia for it. They're not ready to, like, you know, they're sort of resisting Christmas songs still. You know, it's still early enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a good time to put it out.
Can you give us any like fun anecdotes from the shoot, stuff that maybe didn't make it to the final product, or just like weird things that something bad always, well, not bad, but like fun things always happen on set.
Well, I mean, we were taking Jeff out on the.
I was gonna say the boat breaking might be
trying to lug Jeff's fat ass behind the boat, broke our speedboat.
the brand new boat.
No way.
Yeah, so the very last, literally the very last shot we had to get was the intro scene where we get Jeff go. And it was like late September, so it was not warm water. So kudos to Jeff for like getting into the cold ass water.
It was fine. Next time provide a boat that doesn't break like the third time you try to kick it, right?
So luckily we had a couple, we did a bunch of takes and we couldn't get it right. We could, Jeff kept sinking and then coming up and we couldn't get, and then I think we got one and then we were like, okay, let's do one more. I think we can do it better. And so the one after the one that you see in the actual video, I guess one time I turned the boat in the cove and I heard a little bump. So I think we hit a rock and something got dislodged, so that this very last time, we launched Jeff, and it's going good. And then all of a sudden the engine just goes ring, and then the boat stops moving forward. And then we're just and Jeff's just sinking into the water. And then we had to take a little oar. It was the one take. Yeah.
It was the one take where it was the perfect launch. The timing was great. And I was up, and then it was just
and then the boat died.
Conk, sink.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had to paddle out and rescue Tom. Tom was in the boat.
Yeah, it was me and Tom. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then we only had one little paddle, so we had to paddle this speedboat back with one little tiny paddle.
Oh no. Did the boat make it? Is it okay now?
It was literally the last because it was late September, so it was getting picked up to be put away for the season the next weekend. So it was just the last hurrah of the boat. So now hopefully they're fixing it in the marina. We'll know next season.
What is your favorite part of the Marshmallow Revue, the final product?
I gotta say the getting to the island scene in the David Attenborough is by far the best. The best for me. Devon, if you don't know, Devon did all the David Attenborough overdubs, and I think we all added to what the script would be for that part, and Devon sort of tweaked it.
I was just on a YouTube video how to impersonate David Attenborough. It was so funny.
It was, let's just say, because I mixed all the audio for the film, and trying to mix that like a planet Earth,
right,
was
It was so funny because you had it would compress when the vocals came in, and it was the way Jeff did the audio was so pro. The vocal would come in and then the music would come back and then the vocal. It was so good.
Let's just put it this way: it didn't get old even after listening to it 30 times. I was still laughing. So that's how you know it was good.
Cool.
And that's just something that that's we just had all this B-roll that Julian shot, and then so out of this B-roll came Tom being okay. I'm thinking we can have a planet Earth type thing here. Devon, can you try and score? Because I scored the music to the trailer. He's can you try and score something for this scene? So then I did this whole piece that I'd scored for it, and then I sent it to Tom. I'm okay, try and slip this in. And then Tom's oh, that's cool. I actually took a stab at it too. Check out what I did. And then Tom sent me what he did. And it was this majestic fucking, it's so orchestral piece. So that I was obviously we're using what you did, Tom. It's way better. And then he's okay, well, do you think you could try some sort of David Attenborough overdub? And that's where I went on to YouTube to try and then so I had this YouTube video of David Attenborough, and then I'd flip between recording my voice and then hearing his and then making sure I could match it enough, and then quickly open the session, record the line, and then listen back to the YouTube video to make sure I didn't lose the accent.
Right.
It was fun.
It's funny because I think Tom replaced Devon's score, but Devon replaced Tom's first attempt of a vocal.
Oh yeah, Tom had an abysmal British accent. Yeah, it's true.
Can you give us a little taste of your best David Attenborough?
It's just tough because without the reference. Later that afternoon, on a nearby island.
Oh my God, that's great.
Zach and Jeff canoed there, while Devon and Tom took the motorboat over.
Oh my God. Yeah, I could totally see why you would get tired of that after listening to it 30 or 40 times. That's amazing.
So yeah, that was really fun. But that's just something that came out of like nothing. Like we didn't have that planned in the script or anything, but just trying to work on the fly and be creative, and you come up with something fun sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. I wanted to talk about, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it, music counts? Is that
Music counts?
pronounced
Yeah.
properly?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Give me the elevator pitch about what it's all about and why it's so important to you guys.
Well, we do a lot of work with different charities, or Regent Park School of Music. Zach actually works there, and so just trying to connect with, music charity in some way has always been important to us. So trying to supply instruments for classrooms and stuff like that. It's all trying to give lessons when we can. I remember we did at the charity fundraiser for the Regent Park School of Music, we did 1999 like a Prince cover with like a ukulele ensemble and
Cool.
stuff like that. Yeah, it's fun. It's always good to give back where you can, especially with just time and providing music. Like it's so easy and second nature for us. So we're happy to help where we can.
Right. What is the Music Counts organization specifically about?
The Music Counts one, I'm more familiar with the Regent Park side of things. I'm not sure about the Music Counts side of things.
I just saw that in your write up. So if it's brand new, but I'm assuming it's probably still kind of same thing. From what I could read, it's about literally everything you just said.
Yeah. If it's what I'm thinking of, I'm not sure if Zach has a specific initiative that he's got going right now, but in the past, that's the sort of stuff that we've done.
Cool. How long have you been doing that, working with charities and?
I'd say since we started working with Regent Park back with Zach and I were working with him from the Devon Cuddy band. And so we started to meet Friendly Rich, and then he's one of the head organizers over there, and then slowly just trying to give our time whenever we could.
Cool.
So, and that would have been 2013, 14, 15, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the new album called R&R?
Working title.
Title?
Yeah, we're debating on changing it.
Oh yeah, do you have any contesters you're allowed to talk about?
It's always a debate with album titles. Do you just use a song name? Do you just try and pick a song name and use that as the album, or do you try and think of a concept to encapsulate the whole vibe of the album? Do you try and do something like that? So we're sort of at right now. R&R is more it sort of had a double meaning for us, because it was we always called it was just the R&R EP is what we always refer to it, just quick hand for us, because it was rock and roll. And then it was also then there was this whole idea of it was supposed we just released Casual Island in 2019. 2020 was supposed to be our year of relaxation. So R&R was our rest and relaxation year. So It had that double entendre thing. But then the more we listen to the record now, we're man, this is too cool a record to just call R&R. So now we need we're still working on another title.
Unless it's ambiguous enough that people, come up with their own theories as to what R&R is. I mean, I think that's the way that it could maybe work. Is it rock and roll? Is it rest and relaxation?
I don't think anyone's going to listen to our record and think rest and relaxation.
Is it right and wrong?
Right and wrong.
Wrong with an R.
Oh my God. Yeah, if we call it right and wrong, but it's spelled like that, then maybe I can be convinced.
Yeah. But then you got to spell it out then. It can't just be R&R there.
Oh yeah. We'll have it somewhere deep in the scripts.
Yeah, in the liner notes somewhere. A little Easter egg. No, so the album title is still working. We really like one of our songs. Tom did some mock-up album artwork, and one of the song titles is called Live Again, and he's been using that as the working title. So maybe that'll stick. But we'll see. We'll see if some muse sends us some awesome album title in the ether, and we can channel it
I've been pushing for Into the Red.
Into the Red.
Yeah, because we're always clipping those audio tracks, pushing them in the red. Want to make it all fuzzy.
Into the Red, right, kind of reminds me of like a hardcore album, I think.
I know it doesn't work, but
He's still pushing for it. He's still pushing.
I imagine a mixing board and the things are going in the red.
Yeah.
And that 2% of our audience will understand what that is.
The rest will be like, what?
Into the Red, are they bankrupt? I'm confused.
What's going on? So how far into the completion of the album are you right now?
Just mixing we're waiting on. Mixing and mastering.
Cool.
And then, album art, album photos are done. Then we got to start planning on the next music video. How we're going to do it.
Right.
Does it have to be another socially isolated video like Change Your Mind, or will we be able to get together? So lots of stuff to think.
Right. Was Tom going to spend another 100 hours?
Yeah.
Doing
How's
something crazy?
Tom? How's Tom going to etch at that other 100-hour work week that he's got to find?
What does everyone in the band do as like a day job?
Me, Zach, and Tom, we're all teachers, music teachers.
Okay.
So we've just been online Zoom lessons during the pandemic, and then Jeff works for his what is it, like a
the company's
insurance
called
company?
Integrated Assessment Services, but you're not supposed to ask that sort of stuff, man. We gotta create the illusion that we're only musicians.
You could have just said that though.
I know, but I couldn't lie. I couldn't lie.
You can't lie because you can see his face. He's really bad. He's really bad at lying.
Yeah.
He'll break out into a sweat. He'll turn bright red.
I failed acting for non-majors, so.
No, that's not true. Your teacher really liked you. She thought you had a special something.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll get into acting. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I think you should totally. Especially if you got props from your teacher, you should totally do it.
I know. Well, I don't think there's much of a future. I don't think there's much more of a future in acting than there is in music with everything that's going on in COVID. So I'll stick to music for the time being.
True.
Which
Although the film industry was kind of going through a boom. It's slowed down now a bit, but it seems like a lot of American productions are coming up here.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting for those working in film or trying to. When could your fans expect the album to drop?
I mean, I would hope for like fall would be safe. I would hope for spring, but just because everything's done. But it's always because we work together so closely on everything. There's always four competing like business.
Mm-hmm.
Zach always has the business mind and like all that, and then we have the creative. Let's just get it out there, man. Sort of vibe. So there's always finding a balance between we need X amount of weeks to push it to this, to talk to this, and it's also like. Do we want to put what's the environment of putting out an actual record? We sort of tested the waters with putting out a single, and that was good. And then, but do you want to really blow the whole album, when you can't tour it or something like that? So debating different release strategies if you want to just trinkle out track at a time. Right now, the next release is going to be the audio songs from the Marshmallow Revue.
Cool.
So that's all going to come out onto Spotify. So you can listen to all the acoustic songs and then also all the other musical segments that we added in there.
Cool.
Because there's the 80s boat Miami Vice scene and stuff.
Yeah,
that's all music that we also composed as well. So just want to get that out there as well.
All right, I got some Toronto-based questions now. Actually, and before we get into that, I did kind of want to get a bigger picture on how you all met.
How did we meet?
How we all met.
Yeah.
Do you want the truth or a lie?
Well, you're not good at lying.
I'm good at lying, so. The truth is we met at York University. We all studied jazz performance up there.
Yeah.
And Tom and I met because we were in the same theory class. So they basically put everyone in different theory rankings. Like there was the best class, the second best, the third best. And then I think we were there was the fourth best and the fifth. And I think we were the sixth. We were the worst.
Okay.
We failed theory. We failed the theory test. So we were in the same theory class together.
Okay.
So we met, obviously being bottom of the pack, we felt the urge to push our way to the top
Prove yourselves.
of the hierarchy.
Right.
And so we did everything we could to do that, and ended up, anyways, we became friends, started a cover band. Devon joined, Zach joined, and it wasn't long before we were playing originals, and we were Jane's Party.
Cool.
I think, like, really the first show I think we ever played as Jane's Party, I think Zach booked the show.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was the Fox and the Fiddle up at Keel and Finch or if it was the Horseshoe. Which one was the first one?
Or the Rivoli.
Or the Rivoli, yeah. Oh, Christ.
I thought there was one at the Riv. Like, the one that sticks out in my mind was at the Rivoli, and we brought like all these people from York University down, and it was a real jam. I mean, listening back to the audio recordings of that night, like,
Oh man,
we weren't great, but people seemed to love it, so we stuck with.
We had heart.
Yeah. Do you remember how that show went in general?
Dude, well, because when you're in university, you have so many friends to just like
Right.
come. So like we were filling venues like with all these like young like partying kids, and we were like, being in a band is easy, man. Like, we're huge, you know. And then you graduate university and you move downtown and no one knows you, and you're like, oh crap, you better start building a fan base here.
Yeah.
Cool. And I know there's the band's name is a tribute to Jane Street in Toronto. Where does Jane's Party come from? We know the street, the party side of it.
The party is we would always jam in this garage where the garage sessions actually comes from.
Cool.
We had this 2-car garage that we converted into a jam space, and the folklore is that we would be rocking so hard that they could hear us partying over on Jane Street.
Okay, I like that. That's a good answer. Okay, now we're going to get into the Toronto-based questions. So what is your favorite area of Toronto?
West End, just east of Etobicoke.
That's it, baby. That's the one. I love my area here on the Humber River. Like I just walking the dog, smoke a joint. It's like the best like way to center yourself, start just start myself off right for the day.
Right.
Yeah, it's like it's nature in the city. I lived across from High Park, and High Park is just like also awesome, but it gets a little more populated. Whereas
Right.
you come further west and you're on the Humber River, and it's just it's peaceful.
Yeah, for sure. Jeff, are you also based out in that end of the town? Or?
I'm based out of the Junction Triangle area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just on the east end of the Junction.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know if you've ever been to Farmhouse Tavern or Wallace Espresso.
But is that your favorite spot?
Yeah, I have.
Is that I would say I've been there for 7 years. I love that area.
Yeah, Junction's like definitely like been up and coming for a while. I know like a lot of my friends have like started.
I think
moving
it
there.
I think it up and came. I don't even think you can get a house there anymore.
Yeah.
You got I now like North Jane and Eglinton is the new Junction, I think.
Right. Favorite restaurant in Toronto?
I love is it like, oh man, so my favorite restaurant closed during the pandemic. It was the Ace on Roncesvalles. It was like the best date spot you could ask for. So the Ace closed, which is unfortunate. But if I'm like for restaurant, it's Jeff, you go first.
I don't have one.
because I have like a favorite burger spot. I have a favorite like Thai spot. It's hard to like culminate it all into one.
Like a sit down restaurant. I don't think I have one. I think my favorite food place would be Jerk King.
Oh yeah, Jerk King's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I love like Rudy Burger, like Rudy's. Like I
Yeah.
love that place. Pie, like we were talking about earlier. Like
Yeah, for sure.
Thai food.
Okay. Let's do it like this then. We'll do it in categories. Best pizza in Toronto.
Okay, best pizza. I say Revolver on the West End on Royal York,
Okay.
with
You can-
north of Brooklyn a close second.
You contest that?
FBI.
FBI. Oh, interesting.
I actually got in a fight with FBI
Did
on
you?
the phone. Yeah, and they refused us service, and now I think we're blacklisted by the FBI.
That's how you know it's good, man. No soup for you.
no, I'm
They can
against.
blacklist you.
I'm against the FBI, man. I'm storming the Capitol on this. I'm against it.
Okay. What about best burger?
Rudy, I love Rudy Burger.
Rudy?
Yeah, so there's
Rudy
one
is
on
good.
College. Oh, it's so good, man.
Yeah.
I love smash burgers. Any type of smash burger, I know like every place in Toronto now serves it, so I have a couple more to try. That's for sure.
Okay.
But Rudy is when I'm out of the city and I come back to the city, I'm like, and I want a burger. I want like a nice one from there.
Okay.
A&W for sure.
A&W, get out of here.
Yeah, man. In terms of like the mainstream burger places, I think A&W is my favorite.
The
too.
teen burger is better than a Big Mac. Come on, Big Mac. I guess Big Mac is its own category, really.
I don't know, like
I just feel like I know the damage I'm doing when I have a Big Mac. Whereas
Well,
like
like,
with A&W, it's like I convince myself there isn't damage being done. It seems healthier.
It's happier cows for sure. But
my thing,
no antibiotics, man.
my thing
Canadian
is
cows.
the way Big Mac tastes like its own thing. It's its own Big Mac.
Yeah, it's like almost in its own category.
It's its own category. But then A&W, they're like the meat's getting happier, which is all great. But it's tasting more and more just like a regular burger I'd make at home. You know.
Okay.
So
Okay,
like
yeah, I
next
see what
time
you're
you
saying.
eat an A&W burger and you like taste the meat and you taste everything, you're like, okay, this tastes like a hamburger, but a Big Mac tastes like a Big Mac, you know?
Right.
Like, it's like its own thing. So I feel like A&W is getting a little closer to more just like middle of the road, you know? Like it just tastes like a
Okay.
burger I'd make at home.
It tastes real.
Yeah, sure, real. You want to use that? Sure. I'll put air quotes around that.
Okay, what about
we got to crack the code on the secret sauce then, McDonald's. That's the new mission.
Oh yeah. I think I found a recipe for the secret sauce from a disgruntled McDonald's guy that posted it to Reddit,
Oh, that's awesome.
and I
Let me
made
just
it,
get-
and it wasn't the same. It was very close though. Yeah.
I will say, as much as A&W is great, you do have to check out Tuck Shop. They're right around the
Tuck
corner
Shop.
from me. Yeah, they do amazing burgers.
okay?
The Tuck Royale is delicious. So
Oh,
if you're ever
cool.
in the
off DuPont.
yeah,
Cool.
if you're ever in the Junction Triangle area,
Yeah. Well, I have to get a barbecue for my balcony, so I was going to go up to the Home Depot up there. So I'll drop in Tuck Shop for sure. What about favorite hangover meal? Big Mac.
yeah,
I prefer a big greasy breakfast. There's a good, what's it called? The Good Fork or Good Plate? It used to be right by me, the Good Fork at Dundas and Sheridan. Yeah. Oh man, have you eaten there before?
No.
Good Fork? It is possibly. It used to be right at Jane and Bloor, so I would go there all the time. They've got like a little Turkish influence.
Oh, cool.
But they have like these red velvet pancakes and this thick cut bacon. Oh my god.
Red velvet pancakes.
You can't even imagine how good
Holy
it is. It's
crap.
called Good Fork. So that is my definite. And I could also put that up there as possibly my favorite restaurant. So
Okay.
maybe Good Fork, now that it's come back to my mind, Good Fork, I'm going to call favorite restaurant and
Cool.
my favorite hangover spot. Get a nice fucking spicy Caesar and, thick cut bacon, red velvet pancakes with the cream cheese.
Oh my god, that's oh man, you're making me hungry. What about you, Jeff?
yeah, I'd have to go like a good breakfast. I mean, I like eggs Benny, so eggs
Okay.
Benny with the Caesar, something like that.
Figs in the East End has a good eggs, Benny. Have you ever eaten at Figs
I
at
haven't, no.
Queen
No,
and
I'm gonna check that out for sure.
right by Union Sound Studio there?
Cool. Right. What about favorite bar?
Cameron House.
Cameron House.
Okay. Cool. Quick answer. I like that. Best venue to play?
Cameron
I
House.
love that.
I love the Danforth Music Hall in Toronto. Danforth Music Hall is really fun.
Cool. What about you, Jeff? Same.
I'm still the Cameron House.
Cameron House. Okay.
We've just had so many good memories there. Like coming up as a band, like we played there so much, and the family who owns it are good friends, and we just there's not many places in the city where you get to play 3 sets of music, so you really get to hone your chops there as a live
Right.
band.
You feel like you're welcome. You feel like you're welcome to stay, and
Yeah.
everyone really, really wants you there. And I don't know.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in your own living room or something.
Right. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Whereas, I mean, playing those big stages is awesome. It's just it's a totally different feeling.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely something more intimate about the Cameron House, which is why we keep going back.
Okay. What about best venue to go to as a spectator?
Horseshoe for me, just because they still get great bands. I was supposed to go see
Yeah.
Delta Spirit there, but they obviously canceled the show, as they have all the shows. But yeah, I've seen a lot of great bands at the Horseshoe, and it's still great when it's like packed and the band's rocking. It's tough to beat.
And it's so iconic too.
So iconic, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the Phoenix is pretty cool.
Yeah. I've enjoyed the Phoenix too. Yeah, that whole upstairs that like sometimes is VIP, sometimes not.
Yeah. It's nice to just sometimes hang up there and just watch the show.
Yeah. Okay, what is the most Toronto thing that's ever happened to you?
Hanging out after a TIFF party at George Stroumboulopoulos' place, and then ending up getting to jam with Jackson Brown because he was in Toronto visiting or like doing a gala event. That was probably something that could only happen in Toronto to us, I guess, unless you lived in LA or something. But
right.
That
okay.
was pretty
That's a good answer.
Toronto-centric thing that happened to us.
I have no idea, man.
It's okay.
I mean, going to see a Leafs game and then, playing sets at the, rushing from a Leafs game to make it to the Cameron House to play a set is also pretty Toronto.
Oh yeah, that's so Toronto. Cool. All right, now we're coming to last few questions. What band or artist has been getting you through the pandemic?
Let me see here.
It's a good question.
Let me consult Spotify here. I'll tell you. Oh, Talking Heads for sure for me. I've just been on there's like one of those bands that I always knew like the hits, and I knew how influential they were, but I've just really been digging in over the past couple months and just loving it so much.
Cool. Yeah, man. I love Talking Heads.
Talking Heads has been a real one that I keep going back to for sure. Jeff, you got one?
I don't know. I mean, still been listening to a lot of Matt Duncan, Sheepdogs. I kind of got back into the Bee Gees again.
Okay.
That documentary was cool, eh?
Yeah, just sort of going back through a lot of their old hits, and then obviously going down that road. Listening to I love the classic stuff, so listening to a lot of the classic acts.
Kathleen Edwards' new record was good. Delta Spirit, as I said, their new record was awesome. And then a lot of podcasts, a lot of Armchair Expert, Mark Maron, Reply All, This American Life, all that jazz. Broken Record obviously is my favorite, but Rick Rubin,
I don't know
Rick
Broken
Rubin
Record.
and Malcolm Gladwell. Oh man, it's so good. It's just like every musician you'd ever want an interview with, he talks to.
Wicked. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Okay.
a lot of podcasts.
How do you go about finding new music in general?
Well, in Toronto, I actually have a record player. So before pre-COVID, every now and then my partner and I would go and browse through different record, little vintage spots, even like thrift shops or whatnot, and try to pick out an old record. But I mean, more recently, honestly, Spotify, Release Radar, playing a song and then letting the next ones, whatever comes up, jump in and go, oh, that's cool, and then check out that artist, download that album.
Right.
Yeah, I'm always a bit more of always look on random social media, if I see something on Twitter of, some band that has done something or some band I recommends this other band. I like to look at playlists that bands put up or music critics put up, these are some songs that because I love finding new music. I'm always hunting, sniffing out the next newest thing to get my rocks off. So that's how I usually go about it.
Yep.
And I found some cool ones, like Star Parks was a cool band that I found that I was obsessed with. They have a song called Oh Boredom by Star Parks. You should check it out.
Parks.
Yeah, it's a really cool song.
Cool. Yeah, I'm making a lot of notes of restaurants and bands, podcasts. Okay, you kind of just answered it, but maybe Jeff, you could chime in as well on this one. But latest and greatest find, music-wise.
Latest and greatest find, music-wise.
Could be new to you. It could be an old band, but something new that you found that you're really into.
I guess listening back to some old Billy Preston stuff.
Okay.
Was pretty cool. I went down that road again, and then I also got back into this pretty eccentric, crazy piano player from New Orleans, James Booker.
Okay.
Not Booker T, James Booker.
Okay.
So check him out. Just digging into old live recordings, and same with Billy Preston. A lot of old live records.
Right. Cool. All right. I'm going to make a note of that. All right. And then last question. Who, in your opinion, should I have on the podcast next?
Ooh.
Or try to get on?
Yeah, Zach and Tom.
From this band Jane's Party.
I mean, Dizzy's a great Toronto band. I'd love to hear what they're up to.
Yeah.
Dizzy's fun. I mean, our pals Ferraro, they're always good guys to chat to. Shad's always up to
Yeah,
something
we've been working
interesting.
on a song with him.
Yeah. Would he be open to it, you think?
I have no idea,
Yeah,
but
never know.
worth a shot.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's down to earth. He loves talking about. He's super knowledgeable when it comes to music.
Yeah. Everyone that I know that's like met him or worked with him in some way just has the
He's
nicest
the
things
best,
to
man.
say about that
He's
guy.
the best.
So,
He's the best. Yeah, he'll have a new song coming out that we worked on. So
oh, that's cool.
yeah, you have to. I think it might be. Well, we'll see what happens with it, but yeah, it's definitely cool. Can't say much now, but
Right.
it's cool.
Is it going to be featuring Jane's Party or?
We more
secrets.
worked on.
No secret.
We can't let anything know.
Awesome, guys. That's all the questions I have for you.
Right on. Thanks, man.
Cool. Awesome, boys. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
you.
man.
Enjoy the rest of your days. And
Yeah, you too. Good luck unpacking.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I can't wait to hear the new album. Look out for that new Shad track that you may or may not have had a hand in. I can't wait to be able to see you guys perform live again. You're such a
Great,
great
man.
band, and
Thank you.
Yeah.
missing seeing you perform.
Thanks, bud.
All right. Cheers,
Take
guys.
care.
Have a good one.